go. Okay. So after you watched the video of your lesson, what did your before reading encompass?
I mean, it just slightly talked about, we went over the book from yesterday. I just had them remember what we read, and then I had them again state their prediction to what they think is going to happen at the end of the book.
Okay, so what skill was explicitly being reviewed or taught at the before reading at the beginning of your lesson?
Now looking at it, right at the moment, the skill is just making a prediction and a little bit of retell, but did not have in what we was working on yesterday.
So, right. So, even if you were going to, I'll give you feedback on that, and then I'll ask you the next question. So, even if you were reading the same book, even if they did not finish their book for yesterday, there still should be a part of your before reading where you actually review the skill. You don't have to necessarily say, the review doesn't have to be what is your prediction about this book, but you should have an opportunity for them to practice making a prediction. And even with your retell, so your retell and your retell and making a prediction happened out of order, right? Mm-hmm. So if you wanted them to be able to make a prediction, you would have to know for sure that they are able to give you a solid retell, they can remember the question. So it would just be what happened before the reading, and then ask them that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. So, and was your lesson aligned with just the step one pager for their step level?
Today, no, it would not have been.
Okay, and so just what's the impact of you not working on skills from the step one pager when it's time for scholars to take the step test?
I wouldn't say it's a waste of time, but it's not time used wisely to help them.
Right, and so we just want to make sure that we are really working on very high impact things for kids. Just making a prediction, that's a good skill, but it's also a skill that I could tell just by sitting there, you didn't, that they knew. So just getting into higher leverage thinking. So, what do you think your action step is based on what we just talked about?
Probably creating a stronger before reading that encompasses the one pager.
So that encompasses all of and you don't have to work on just which you're correct, right? So to create your guided or reading lesson plans or annotating your guided reading lesson plans based on this step tool, because it's only going to help your kids grow. And when it's time to take the step test, then they will be able to answer the questions and be able to work on the skill.
My question, is it better to go just down the list working through each skill, or can I kind of just pick?
I think you pick what's appropriate for the book. Okay. So what can I do with the book I chose? And so as you go through the list, what can I do with the book I chose? And then, once you get to the end of the list, then you have to look for a book that fits whatever else you need to cover within the book. So for me, for these kiddos, honestly, I would actually start with teaching them a retell, and there's actually a retell thing you can copy up there. Oh, yeah. So I would actually if it were me, I would just start with teaching them how to make how to do a retell, and then for their retell, as they get along in their retell and when they start talking about characters, you can encompass character actions and character motivation into that, so that they're just they're constantly working on that retell, and it's just gonna get better. Okay. Just in my experience, when I did not teach those other components within the retail, the kids just like could answer the higher order thinking questions, but could not do a thorough retail because they wouldn't include things like motivation.
Okay.
And like what the characters did. So that's just my experience, but you can, you just work like what you think is best for, you know them better than I do.
Retail is rough, and also writing the comprehension questions is rough as well. So that's something I'm trying to add in a lot.
And so like I would just make sure like use that whole 40 minutes. And you just like need an anchor chart, or you can turn that into a worksheet. Like there are lots of things that you can do to help them work on the retail. So you can like turn that into a worksheet.
Yeah, actually, Keener gave me a really good like retail checklist, and then like a better breakdown for them on the other side. So it's been a little bit easier for kind of Campbell to see what parts he needs to pull out. But I might modify it a little bit to fit kind of the components that I see a few that were not on there to fit, what's going to be on the step test.
So today to practice, we are actually going to look at this lesson plan.
Okay.
So we can look at actually this lesson plan and just like work on like, you can take the lesson plans that you have, like that you're pulling out of the step book or the step books or whatever, and annotate it for what you need. So like this mini lesson is on conflict, but like what would you want your mini lesson to be on? Just looking at your step tool.
Honestly, I really think, like what you said, retail would probably be the best start for them because of making that stronger.
So then, like, I would not. So, like, you have to start, like, you can't always teach your lesson plans from these lesson plans. You have to do. So, I would just, like, literally, like, not do this.
Okay.
Or write your own lesson, like, cross that out. And so, why don't you, so then you can write you a mini lesson, for your retail, or even if a lot of your retail is, so you can actually teach what your retail is using a graphic organizer. Like when I looked around your room, like if retail is such a big, huge deal with the step level that they're on, but there's no like anchor charts for retail. There's nothing for them that's just like right in front of them to cue them on what they need to do.
I could pull it off the wall and put it in front of them.
Yeah, so like if it was small, then I probably didn't see it. So like we just need to make sure that the anchor charts are user friendly for the kids, not just for you. They have to be user friendly for the kid. So you can write a quick little mini lesson on how you would present teaching them the retail, using the summary if you want to, or you can use your retail points.
Okay.
And I would script it out. So you might want to use a pencil. This pen is terrible.
Yep.
And even if you don't want to work on all of the parts of a retail, maybe today you just focus on 2 parts.
Yeah. Reading
and then,
this. Yeah.
So focus on 2 parts of the retail. And then that's the part they tell, and then moving on.
Bessie. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, do you want to go? Or if you want to, like, you can go. Or if you want me to go first.
I mean, I can go first.
Okay. And then I can just go back just based on.
Oh, so I got so far apart. So, scholars, today we're going to work on retelling the story. When you read, you want to be able to know what you are reading. Retell can help you in understanding the book. When you are retelling a story, you want to retell it in a way so if someone has not read the book, they would know what was going on. A retell can have a lot of parts, so today we are just going to focus on the setting and the characters.
Okay, and so like, what I would add in or just like some call and response to make sure that they
Are listening while I'm talking.
not only listening, but that they are internalizing just like the vocabulary words. So I would actually do call and response. So I would say today's scholars, today we're going to work on 2 parts of your retell. We're going to work on characters and settings. Scholars, what are we going to work on? Characters and settings. And then I would define, so then I can tell you, because you can probably put ours together. I said so scholars, we're going to focus on the characters and the settings. Scholars, what are we going to focus on? The characters and
the settings.
The setting of the book is where the story takes place. What's the setting in the book?
Where the story takes place.
Very good, where the story takes place. The characters are the people or the animals in the book. What are the characters?
People and the animals.
In the book.
In the book.
So I'll say, let's practice. So I'll go first. Listen to me and make sure you have their attention. The story, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down, broke his crown. Jill came tumbling after. The setting in my story is the hill. Mm-hmm. And the characters in my story are Jack and Jill. So let's practice together. And so then I just wrote the story of Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, and then have them use like a story that you can
short enough to fit the time, but can
like something like sometimes like I just like you can like Google the story and it'll come out as a paragraph, or just like the plot summary, just so that they get the point, but something to do as a we do.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you can actually use that too. And then start from the beginning, just to practice.
Alright, so scholars, today we're going to work on retelling the story. We're going to work on
Retelling the story.
when you read, you want to be able to know what you are reading. Retell can help you in understanding the book and help you
Understand the book.
when you're retelling a story. You want to retell it in a way so if someone has not read the book, they would know what was going on.